Bang, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Run Home Podcast. Do not adjust your televisions. And if you are watching this on a television, I am joined today by not one, not two, not three, but four guests. They are the people that help run this whole damn thing. They are Luke, G. Sparks, Makila, and Balmers. Gentlemen, welcome to the Run Home Podcast.
Thank you.
It's tough to get everybody in one place. Obviously, Luke and Mac have been here before. I've talked to Balmers and G on the phone, but it's great to get everybody in one place. I was hoping to, it seemed like the right time to get the group together to talk about all the things on the horizon, because it feels like a lot of things have been happening concurrently that are going to start dropping here pretty soon, or at least knock on wood, I hope. And so, Mac, maybe I'll just start with you. There's several things in the hopper, but what has you most excited?
Well, there will be something in this release that's pretty cool that I think we've had some clamoring for a while for it to move from forums to a user or to a game-based process. But I don't know if that's my place to go into that a whole lot. So
I think you tip it a little bit. Yeah, go for it.
I mean,
break some news.
There will be some form of ranking that is rolled out with this next release. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think, you know, what's going to be good is we've always talked about like getting more information in the hands of the owners, whether that be statistics packages, whatever it might be. And so, you know, I think this will be the first nod towards giving people more numbers, because I think I don't need to speak for everybody, but I think like what brought us all here was the box scores and the stats and maybe the sabermetrics or whatever you're into. But it's, you know, a text-based baseball game. You got to like numbers a little bit. Yeah, and then
so, no, that's
please.
pretty cool. No, I was just gonna say it's I've seen a little bit of it, and it's pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's still a little top secret. And then you know, along with that, like the thing I'm probably most excited about, and Balmers, I'll get you in here, is for so long, and actually this has been like the number one thing before we can start driving new traffic to the site. We had to fix the new user experience because that was pretty chunky. It was like you come in, you maybe get to a dead league or a league where somebody just destroys you. The mentor leagues are kind of swimming right now, and so like I'm pretty excited about getting the new user experience dialed so we can have like a more welcoming atmosphere. Have you taken well, yeah, maybe just walk through what your experience and what you think is going to be the best part of that.
I think it's going to be like the mentor leagues before, I think were really good. I think Luke actually came in as a mentor league back,
I think so too.
Or they're a good way to learn. And one of the things that we talk about just as a group kind of when we chat and stuff is, you know, what do you look for in a league when you go to add a league? Like we've all got, you know, what, 5, 6 teams, some of us more. If we decide we want to add a league or add a team, what are we looking for in those leagues? And we have certain criteria that we look for.
Yeah.
If we can make those mentor leagues kind of fit some of that criteria that, you know, is friendly to the newer user, then that's going to really help keep those people. Because, you know, well, it would, I don't know, Luke, how many people were in like some of the mentor leagues you were in, and then how many are still around? 2 or 3 maybe? You know, stuff like
we had what, like five mentor leagues around 2016. I'd say maybe a quarter are still around. Maybe
really?
The ones that made it like a whole couple seasons.
Well, you're talking about
not
leagues,
the ones,
though, right? And those leagues have a lot of turnover. I'm talking like regular users.
Yeah, no, the users that made it like maybe 5 seasons deep I'd say a quarter are still around from that time, because we've got like Tyrus, JPEX, Tander. There's a decent group of owners that came up with me.
Yeah.
That's the thing that always drove me nuts is like when I hear that and that you think about Luke, Tander, JPEG, that's a good group of really active people. And it both makes me excited about what's ahead. It also makes me feel like how many people did we lose in the process? So hopefully, you know, we still have those emails. So hopefully we can reintroduce CSFBL to a lot of people because G, I'm going to bring you in here because you and I talked about this when we talked on the phone. It was like you actually stayed like counter to that because of your new user experience was a little bit different than Luke's.
Yeah. One of my first user experience was getting ripped off in a trade by someone who was not, someone who knew I was new and they weren't. So
Yep.
It made me mad. It made me want to stay around and eventually beat them. So that's why I was very involved in the original mentor leagues and why I was fortunate enough to have Luke and Tander be in my division when I started it. So.
Oh, you were, I guess maybe you did tell me that you were, well, explain to me how the mentor leagues work, because I actually wasn't involved in it. So how many people do you get that you're the mentor of, or how did it work, or how will it work? I guess is better.
Well, it was basically, we had 4 original mentors, and each person had a division they were responsible for. So.
Oh yeah, okay. So you had up to 6 people. Hopefully
Yeah.
they're all engaged, but probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
You try to keep them around as long as possible. To be honest, some of them dropped out, but we had some good ones for sure.
Yeah.
I had played in Sweetness, MLB Sweetness with G, and then that was like a month before the first mentor league. And when I joined, I asked to be in his division because he had already helped me out a little.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then Balmers ripped me off in Carl. So.
Oh, you did? Balmers was part of the problem? What do you say for yourself?
Well, I get a lot of that still, but it was not intentional. It was not an intention, at least. So,
no, that guy
was
a weird dev. That guy was a weird dev. I didn't expect him to last that long.
Yeah.
Well, that's the point though, right? Like even though a lot of the stuff seems really obvious to us now, I have trouble remembering when I first started, but I remember just getting destroyed in trades. I mean, just like destroyed. The first team I had to give up because I got like seemingly tricked out of pitchers, and like that's just a shit way to start any game to have everybody be so predatory. And I don't know if I was like adamant about getting them back like I think G was, or I just like suffered through it. But most people aren't going to do that. Like you're here to escape things and just have a little bit of fun. So I'm hopeful that we can ease people into the water a little bit now, as opposed to throwing them deep into the pool. What do you think, Mac?
Well, yeah. One of the big things, and we all go through this when every user, when we initially joined that are currently playing, we go through this period where we don't get any feedback. We don't know if what we're doing is right, if it's wrong, if you're making bad decisions, poor decisions, if your assessment is correct of players. You have to wait for sims to happen. You have to wait to see results, and really to start learning. It can take seasons and seasons and seasons, which can turn into years and years, which who's going to do that? A very select group do it, as you alluded to earlier. And I agree 100%. I bet all these guys do as well. How many users did we lose? Because they play for a month and they get screwed over in a trade. They don't fully understand how to read ratings, and they get confused. And it's not like there's no graphic aspect of the game. So it's not like it has the traditional video game sense of, well, I still have this visual engagement. That doesn't happen here because we're text-based. Yep. So, CSFBL, it's kind of a double-edged sword in that there's a lot of tribal knowledge. Now, there are some people that are really, really good with sharing and teaching and wanting others to know the knowledge they have. And then there's others that use it to their advantage.
Yep.
No, and yes,
Absolutely.
I get that anyone who plays a game longer is going to be better at it. I mean, that makes sense.
Mhm.
But there's a difference between saying I know something versus I'm going to screw over the person who I know doesn't understand what's happening because it's really difficult to understand at first. So the mentor leagues were phenomenal with getting something to give the new users feedback because they had a person there telling them, this is how you do this. This is how you scout a player. This is not a good trade, and these are the reasons. Yeah, so it's definitely a problem. You know, the aspect of trade taking advantage of it's we all know it happens. We, as Balmers was talking about, we all look when we join a league because we know, and some of us might look at who's the owners in the league. You know, I don't want to play in a league with that person because, frankly, they just rip off new user after new user after new user. It is something that happens in the game. And if we can make a better experience so those users are, frankly, taught better, I think it's overall a better system.
The funny thing about this game is even though it hasn't had massive development for 20 years, it's the same basic sim. And I've played it for 17 years. I know all of you guys have been here for a long time and still don't know everything about it. It's really odd. Like I'm still don't totally understand. We were talking about it today. What happens with a left-handed switch hitter? Like does the plus turn into a minus? What's really happening there? Or with first baseman range? Like there's no easy way to calculate exactly how effective first baseman range is. So there's a million things like that. So it's really important that you get somebody to at least teach you the basics because you're never going to figure out this whole thing. I have real life friends from CSFBL, and I will not name names, but at least two guys, well, maybe I will blast them, but they won't even help me now. And I'm like a real life friend to them. They'll hoard that knowledge for their own advantage. So, all right. So G, what are we going to see with, since you're part of the both sets of mentor leagues, what are we going to see new in this iteration of it that we didn't have last time, if anything?
That's a good question. But I think
I guess it's not fully baked either, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah, we got time.
the big
Clone-
thing is that we get mentors that can stay committed.
Yeah.
Because we did have some problems with mentors dropping off. So
Yep. You got to
You
really
know-
have somebody willing to devote.
yeah,
some
it's a
time.
commitment for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things,
Part of that was having to run the draft though
Yes,
in a league that
That'll be
you
a
didn't have-
huge.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's killed more good owners than anything. Is the new user experience killed more new owners, and the draft killed more good owners.
we say that tongue in cheek, but I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not
sadly.
a coincidence. That's how we're tackling these problems for sure.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
When it first was, we first started talking about this new draft coming out, and like you guys announced it and everything, Matt can reiterate this. We chatted, we're like, man, we don't really know how well this is going to work. We were kind of a little skeptical, like, okay, let's see. I love it. I think it's awesome. It's been so good.
The only thing I want to add still to the draft has been so much better. I've missed less drafts. We just have to well, for me, it would be great if something just texted me right to my phone and like, you're up now, stupid. But it's better.
So that's something that I'm, that has been kicked around, and man, push notifications without having to be intrusive in any way would be really nice from the website,
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned that because the other problem that we've had historically is that we are a land of two games. And I'm going to tie these things together because one of the greatest things and one of the only things that have kept the people that have been around many years is the community. and getting people to the community quicker in their experience, I think is like of paramount importance. This is a way to introduce them to somebody right off the bat and introduce them to the community. But also the other side of this is the forums that were just there for lack of like anything in the game. So the forums became many things. It became the community. It became the supplementation of the limiting of the game, where you're doing the draft in there and you're doing other things. And so, Mac, I'm just going to come back to you for this. Like, this isn't an easy solve, but like, how do we start to mesh those things together using the mentor leagues and Discord and the forum upgrade, which is coming, which could be cool?
You know, that's an age-old question that we've asked ourselves a lot here, you know, is how do we make it more of a single immersive environment? There's how you solve it. I mean, I don't think there's a single shot on how you do it, you know, but I do think there's some steps, how you can, and Discord you brought up. Okay, so Discord has the ability to do things where we can tie the site to it.
And there's like APIs both ways that eventually.
I will not even be the first to act like I'm a developer that understands that. I'm not. But there's ways I know you can do that. That's really cool. That's a start. You know, is that I just bring that up as an idea. You know, Clone and I have talked a bit about, can we, like we were saying, like I said a second ago, can we make it where the game can communicate with, if someone wants to, our phone? You know, is there an easy way right now to say, here's the results of your game, have them pushed out to your phone if you want? Or is there an easy way to say, your draft's coming up in 3 simulations, push that to the phone? Yeah. That type of stuff I think is really cool. It would be really helpful. Make it all opt-in, as we've all discussed many times. I know that there is a portion of users that will never want to move away from just the game, you know, or not move away, that's the wrong word. They'll never want to do something other than just the game, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's great.
Everything else extra, you know. But the new user experience, I think, is really important. You know, circle back to that, because if you can make the community's our advantage, let's use that to our advantage. And part of what that is making this atmosphere, this one environment where everything exists. You know, one login. That was something talked about years ago.
Yeah.
One login. You know, if I can log into one place, I have the game, I have whatever platform I want to communicate on. You know, that's to the big pipe dream in that regard.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in there and maybe pivot to you, Luke, because the one worry that I've had is like there's some things that Discord can do that the forums can't. There's things that make the forums special that Discord could never do. And my worry was like, okay, well, we don't want to make the problem worse, where now we have a Discord community, a forum community, then this game community. So like what when you're looking at it, what do you think the opportunity is there to enhance the community without dividing it?
Oh, you want ideas from me?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like how you see it.
You're the idea man, Luke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you always have I have to tell him no ideas right now.
Yeah, he does have the ideas. Yeah. So, I think he was just surprised, because normally you guys are telling him to shut up, and now it's like, oh, I can actually say something. So yep, on this show we want your ideas, Luke.
If there's an API that'll get the push notifications to Discord, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Because that fixes part of that.
Then I don't have to give a phone number, and
yeah,
and I can do whatever there. For me, I like Discord for trade talks. The forum is still fun to just like post different like stats and things like that.
Yep. And then there's like this one other thing that we haven't talked about yet, that every time Clone and I talk about it on the side, we start getting super excited. And that's how I'm like realizing that this idea is bigger than I think we give it credit for. And that's to get the get a blog up and running, because initially a blog is just like not very exciting to say, but then when you really think of all the stuff we can do about it, and have one repository for all this user generated content, and incorporate a lot of new user articles, and I don't know, I'm pretty excited about the blog. Balmers?
Yeah, I hadn't heard that idea yet, but that
Yeah.
you're really good
This
idea.
am I breaking news? Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it.
No, you're breaking that one.
Oh, because like the thought there is like WordPress has some pretty easy ways to add a blog. And then one thing I've been surprised by is like, we had I think it was Clayton Kershaw do a game of the week, and then we had Bobcat do like a little round table, and he did an interview, and I was like, man, people are doing all this awesome stuff, and people have done some write-ups. We had a couple of people take a stab at YouTube tutorial videos, and I was like, man, this is something awesome. If other people want to get involved in this, and we can start putting it all in some sort of blog, managed blog, I think that could be pretty impressive, especially because I think like a lot of us use this as our like not real life outlet for our creativity and for our hobby or whatnot. So I don't know.
Well, Balmers has gotten, give him some credit here. He's gotten where he's pretty skilled in some Google Sheets as well. No,
oh, really?
I mean, he's made a lot of the tools that were being used towards the end of the draft. A lot of the draft tools that were being used, he was the one who had
I can't take all the credit. Vashan did
no.
some of the legwork, and then I
yeah
have to it, but yeah.
You know, Vashan did a lot of original. He built some of the best draft tools that we had when he was here, third-party draft tools.
He's like a legend behind the curtain now. Like he's
Yes, he is.
almost mythical at this point. Hey, I heard there was a sighting of him on the game the other day.
There was.
He posted somewhere. I forget where it was, but yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it was in a TCL thread. I'm not 100%. I think it was in
That sounds
Reel
right.
him
Yeah.
back in.
I think it was. And
Yeah.
no, we all think very highly of him here, this
For
group.
sure.
And there's a couple of guys here that spent a lot of time interacting with him as well. But yeah, Balmers patched up a lot of, there were changes to the website after he left. Balmers patched up a lot of his old sheets, made some improvements to them. So a lot of the ones that were being shared throughout leagues, he made towards the end. But the point I was making there was he's not the only one.
Yeah.
We have a lot of other people that have done it. So, you know, a repository, for lack of a place to put the tools, the knowledge, to help address the tribal knowledge. We've tried it before. It's never worked great. We've never had something where we've had a blog, though, like, you know, again, I agree with you in that it's like you say a blog, and it's like, isn't that 10 years ago kind of, you know?
Yeah.
It seems old. Just when I heard the term, it was like, that feels old to me. But
Yep.
I think we need something like that where we can highlight what some of this cool stuff is that our community has done here, you know, and some of the stuff that, you know, Balmers he was never unwilling to share. I asked him, other people asked him and said, you know, hey, do you mind sharing that with me that you're using? And he, of course, would say, sure. Why not have a centralized spot for all of that?
And it's a great place to introduce people to the community earlier on too, because, and I mean this literally, it could be front page news. Like we could, right now, we don't have a great entrance to the game even for daily users, and it would be great to incorporate some version of that.
Well, I mean, what's the first page you go to when you visit the website?
Franchise page.
How about you, Balmers?
Franchise page, and then usually news for each of my teams.
G, what about you?
Franchise.
Luke?
TCL forums.
Yeah, there he
got
is, my man.
Then the franchise.
My
page.
man.
So why doesn't the franchise page have those feeds?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean,
We only have right now, we have the Dave Parker spot, which I affectionately refer to it as. Remember, there's just like for like half a year, it said Dave Parker's autobiography.
His autobiography.
Yeah, I was like, what is that about?
That's right. I forgot about that.
That's the only place that we have to stick some information right now. So,
but you know, that's that type of page. Everyone goes there.
yeah.
Send more info to that page.
Yeah, for sure. You know, links to, you know, any software you use have like useful links over on the side or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you, Luke, I know you have I don't know if you've updated it lately, but like a draft tool where it, you know, gives scores
I
to
was just
guys.
gonna say tools. That's
I have a tool that I plug ratings into, and it tries to rank guys. And you know, we're not the only ones. I'm sure others have similar things.
Yep.
You know, how useful could, not that our ratings have to be, you know, this is exactly how you have to rank guys, but how useful would that be to a new person to come in and be,
yeah,
oh,
because I mean, just seeing
why
how
this guy is better than this guy, or, you know, why player A is better than player B, or whatever.
Yep. Even
Things
just
like that.
not knowing why they ranked it in the order that they did, or why the tool it starts making you key in on what's the difference, and you start identifying patterns.
It could be like how the NCAA ranks like football teams. Like you've got the Luke score, the Balmers score.
Clone brought up that
everyone
idea.
would use the rent score, but whatever.
Maybe, I don't know. I like to give rent some.
I heard there was some drama in the league about that recently.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's what makes it fun, right? Is like the disagreement, even if it's just arbitrary, makes it entertaining and causes the conversation,
the communication, the conversation.
Yeah,
that's. Rent and I have had disagreements over the years, but I have always appreciated his ability when Rent engages on the forums with something like that. And I'm using him just as an example because we all know who we're talking about. He draws a conversation follows that is awesome.
One of the best threads I ever saw was when he ranked all the #1 draft picks in TCL. And it just, it's one of the most iconic threads in all of CSFBL. Not that other leagues care, but I'm just saying it shows like what could be. Yeah,
you know, I always loved his yearly team rankings that he was doing. It always stunk because when he first started, my team was terrible, and so I was like always one of the listed, and he'd only say like a sentence or two. And then when my team got good is when he got busy and kind of stopped doing it. So then I just never got ranked. So I always thought that was funny, but
it was intentional, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm excited about all this stuff. And, you know, honestly, guys, the other reason I wanted you on here is just to sincerely thank you for all the work you put in, because I don't think people realize what's happening in the background. Just like with anything, there has to be a lot of QA, there has to be a lot of testing, there has to be a lot of dialogue. And maybe, G, this is a good place for you to jump in, is where, like, maybe you could give people that don't realize like what's happening in the background to get the draft from like test to staging to production, and the stuff that you're involved in on the backside of things.
On the draft?
Well, not just the draft. I mean, just anything we're deploying, the test site. I don't think people really, I think if people were asked, they'd probably be like, oh yeah, there must be a test site. But I don't think people realize that you guys are the ones that take it from, you know, and shape it to what it becomes.
Yeah, we're just told to try and break things, and that's always fun.
Yeah.
So,
and you're successful a lot.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, but yeah, beyond that, what community managers do is we create players for leagues. We can reverse trades, that type of stuff. So there are some back end things that we do, believe it or not.
What's the most rewarding part of it, and then what is the bane of your existence as it comes to being a community manager?
Getting through to new users is very big, for sure. Getting to understand core concepts. Bane of existence is locking threads and telling people to be nice.
Yeah. Where you feel like how am I the adult in the room? One of those type things.
Mac likes to do that though.
He does. What? Didn't you have a nickname for a while, like the cooler or something?
No, I don't know. You guys might have came up with one.
Yeah, behind your back, maybe.
A period of time behind my back, exactly. No, you don't ever want to. You don't want to do it. I prefer, frankly, if people are going to be pissed off at somebody, that fine, be pissed off at me. Don't be pissed off at these guys. So when it comes to what, Balmers, I a little bit was alluding to there is, I tell these guys that I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the ass. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Let me ask you this, Mac,
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, because I was thinking about this the other day, and you've been around for almost the exact same amount of time as I have. We've been in a lot of same leagues together. Do you get the impression that CSFBL has less drama than it did 10 years ago?
Absolutely.
It does. What? Why?
No,
We used to
100%.
fight all the time over the dumbest shit.
We've gotten older.
I guess.
I think it's
It's
a
gotta
lot
be.
of the core that we have right now is similar to our age, and we all started earlier. We were younger and we were a bunch of assholes to each other. There was a ton of drama. There was definitely some
There
bigger,
was.
there was probably some bigger personalities around. I think as part of it. There aren't a whole lot of heels. I think in the current community, there are some that wear the hat very well.
Yep.
But I don't think there's as many as there used to be. For that reason, I hadn't thought about that. That's a good question as to why.
Yeah, I'm glad it is happening. That it's maturing, but because I mean, one of the longest threads in CSFBL history is the controversy thread, and that is probably a bit ominous. Even I almost got kicked off the game at one point, like 2005, over a fight with community managers, no less. And so it's ironic that I'm on the other side of the ball now.
Well, there's a cool excitement right now. Obviously, you need to draw on we need to draw on new users. That's how.
Yep.
We need to. There's a cool vibe about the game right now amongst the current community, and it, as you've said, we got to fix the foundation. We've got to fix we kind of had to patch up some things. Then we can start building on top of it. Then we go out and find, then we go out and advertise more. Luke recently threw together a league, and I think it came together very quick for him, probably quicker than any league efforts that have been done recently. Luke, do you want to?
Yeah. Let's hear about it.
What your experience was?
Well, this group is always talking about music, and right when the draft tool came out, I was just like, I haven't started a new league in forever. That's a feature that it would be nice to bring back, is the new leagues. But I was just thinking, I'm not gonna have to run a draft. This will be cool. We can make it music themed. Bring in some people just to talk about that as kind of like the community part. And then Discord was really useful to recruit. I probably got reported for spam by a few CSFBL users. But yeah, it
Where's
came
the league
together
now?
in like a week.
Is it off the ground?
Yeah, this is its second season of playoffs.
Second season playoffs. I just lost to Jar. So.
Oh, so are all of you in this league?
We are.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
But
So
the-
what's the music tie-in?
Luke's kind of downplaying this, I think, actually.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
I do
yeah.
too. I
Really
I
bad.
think so as well.
We were joking in our group chat that whatever, and Luke, joked that he should run a league, and kind of ribbed him because he wasn't running any, and
Yeah.
and within maybe a week, I mean, we had,
Yeah, it was insane.
yeah, if you look at the user group of that league, it's probably one of the top 5 group of users in league, in terms of strength of a league.
What's the name of the league? I'm
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Luke, you get to explain it.
It's called Hippie Stock Mosh Pit.
All right. I love it.
I'm more of like a hippie music person. Then Mac and G are more
I
like
see what you did here.
the mosh
Yeah.
pit people.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it did come together really quick. I would say
I think the whole
Discord
music
helped.
concept just
The draft
resonated
tool
with
helped.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, I love these names.
He's got people that have, he's got people asking to join the league already,
Yeah.
without a whole lot of advertisement at this point. And I was impressed how fast it came together. I think it was a combination of the excitement, that utilizing the tools that were available that maybe not have been in the past, where there's a place to go to real-time message the community, people that want to be part of it. I agree with Balmers. He was underselling it there. I was impressed, very impressed how fast he was able to put it together.
Yeah, that's cool. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come, because even just like not to get lost in what Luke said is now that there's a draft tool. Like that was almost like the barrier to wanting to run a league previously. That's what a pain in the ass
was
that
the barrier. That was the barrier.
Yeah. Is there well, no, I mean, I guess that solves a couple issues. That's really cool. It would be great to see more people starting leagues and trying new things, because my thesis anyway for the success of this whole damn thing is that if we add dimmer switches to everything, so you can throttle up and down every league option, that the innovative people of CSFBL will drive the development of the game, right? Because they'll start to want things and demand things in a certain direction and just kind of let it grow organically based on the feedback loop that we're getting through you guys.
Well, I'll share a little bit of one of our conversations the other day that you and I had in a group chat. I made the comment normal league in a group chat with you.
Oh yeah, everybody keyed in on that.
And I said, and it was, yep. I didn't realize how I had kind of put it out there. And it was, I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if it was Modin or Jar or someone that said, what's normal?
I think it was Clone.
Was it Clone? You know what? I think it was Clone. Now that you say that, I think it was Clone that said, what is normal? What's a normal league? And I had to take a step back definitely and think about it for a minute and go, okay, yeah. Point made. I think that's a new way to think about it.
I think so. Yeah. Because when you look at what people are doing, working around the game to create a league like Dynasty is crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some people doing some really cool, innovative stuff. And so like, we got to empower that.
G is in Dynasty. And I mean, he probably has a better perspective on it than any of us, but you know, it's not for me. I can just be upfront and admit that I don't have the time to dedicate to it, but it seems like there's some really cool ideas, at least.
Yeah, tried. Absolutely. If you have the time, and not everyone does, but if you do, it's a totally unique experience. I mean, the NCAA league has the college aspect as well, but this is pro and college, and yep. There's just so many features to it, and so it speaks to the richness available for developing people developing their own leagues. So
maybe can you condense it so that people that don't know what Dynasty is, like how it works?
Well, there's no scouting, so you have to go based off of stats. There's a completely redone drafts for the pros that are drafting based off of. I'm in college, and so my players graduate, and then the people in the pros can see how they did and pick based on stats. In college, you're just recruiting based on how much the player makes. So it's a different way of gauging than what we're accustomed to, but it provides a very unique experience.
Yeah, and when I think about like how people want to be competitive, it's in a lot of different ways. So going back to that like normal league thing, I think another league from years ago that really unlocked something in my mind was relegation, where you're relegating up or down, or ladder leagues, or even like limited leagues. I think that's really interesting to expose people to, because you find like you can experience the game in a totally different way that makes it like, I don't know. I mean, it's the same game, but just played a different way. It's like having a deck of cards.
Another league that I like is a CWS, which is all college. Mm-hmm. So I'm still making like the players for them to recruit, but they've got a full-on like 3-round recruitment cycle. It's really cool, and if I had the time, I would join that league again. Just wanted to.
Yeah,
no,
I love that league.
People doing
I played. So, my memory is not 100% on all of it. The user Rando, who we all know, has a hand in kind of creating or the original ideas for these leagues that we're talking about right now, the graduation, the NCAA, all that stuff. So I mean, credit to him for that idea, because it's a very unique idea. I was part of Road to the Bigs, which is one of the original, I think the original league where it was tried. And then the next iteration of it was College World Series. And there are others that put in a ton of time. So I'm not remembering everybody. But the experience is really cool. It's really different. And it's a ton of work that those guys have done. So I agree with Luke. I just wanted to mention it on Road to the Bigs as well. I don't think it's around anymore, but that was kind of the one that started that idea.
And just because he would say it if he's here, Rando no longer exists, but King Rat is doing a great job of being a good advocate for his leagues. I want to help stoke that fire because I actually I have a unique relationship with him, and I really kind of think of him as my CSFBL little brother and want to take care of him because he's pretty damn talented. And when directed in the right way, there's a lot of special things going on there. And I think somebody like that can help drive the development of the game because they're the ones that literally tell you what switches you need.
Yeah, so definitely an issue that those of us that have been around a long time, I'm sure have the blinders up, and it's hard for us to put them down and think of how to rethink the game. And what should it be going forward?
Yeah.
Like I said, the whole, when Clone the other day made the comment of the normal league, that was enough to get the gears turning in my head and go, okay, that's been unfair of me to be harping on a normal and not normal league. There's no such thing. Yeah.
And just since I don't know why I'm so itchy to talk about it, but I think it's just good to shed some light on it. Is I love the idea of the Tournament of Champions and making it like an annual tradition. Like we need to have our playoffs or Super Bowl. And obviously the way that we did it, we kind of put it together really quick. So it's not perfect in the way that people got in or how it was, but it was something to get the thing started. But the knock on it is that I think I did 3 podcasts in a row about it, doing games of the week about it. And then it becomes like this looming shadow where there's 32 people out of the hundreds and hundreds playing are just getting content for this one thing. And I realized it can come across as, I don't know how it comes across, but it was just too much. And it became it cast such a long shadow, so that I'm thinking about that in future years. How do we make this just a smaller piece of this bigger pie as opposed to this looming thing? And I'll open it up to anybody that wants to talk about that, because I think it's worth.
I think that's a good way to put it. It felt like if you weren't in Tournament Champions, then your league kind of didn't matter at the time.
Yeah.
Which, we don't want to protrude that as being the case. And I think that's kind of what's good about this group too, is we all kind of have our own preferences of what kind of leagues we like to be in. And, going forward, we, to kind of circle back to that new user experience, we can kind of try to point people in, hey, this league does this, or this league, has this set of rules, or, oh, this league has a lottery system that, is used, or whatever it might be. Maybe go try that one out, see what you think of that league, or, different ways like that. Because, like you said, the dimmers, options, everybody wants options. And I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. When I first self-recognized it, and that's why I'm really counting on people to give me feedback, because when it first dawned on me, based on some feedback that was happening, the first thing I did was I ran out, I would join Lawn Chair and 2-a-day league. And I was like, this is the exact opposite of that. This is where we chill out and hang out on the lawn and drink beer. And so, and there's been so much fun stuff that has popped up out of Lawn Chair, because it's just totally antithetical to the high stress drama of Tournament of Champions. So I think it's good that you guys, share that feedback. G, you have any thoughts? The only reason I say G is because he was pursing his lips like he was trying to keep his mouth shut more than everybody else.
No.
Okay.
I religiously followed the results from the Tournament of Champions. So
yeah.
He followed him more than any of us. Can fully admit he he also needs a round of applause, and so does Clone and Lou for helping everything get going, and Rent what he did.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, it became, I think Balmer said it really well, actually. It did start if you aren't part of this, what you're doing doesn't matter.
Yeah, it became elitist, like have not type
Which-
situation. And that
which
was
I like.
definitely not the intent, but
I like the concept of a community playoff is awesome.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a great concept. And I think how do you make it part of the pie, but not the pie?
And there's
you,
been so
you know what
many-
else?
Oh yeah, please, Luke.
Oh, I was gonna say, you know what else made it cool was Jar had the tournament for the people outside to like pick
Mhm.
who was gonna do well inside. And I just want to say, as long as VI wins, I come in second place. So
Do you really?
Congratulations.
I
So
did not know that. Awesome.
that was kind of my hope was that, like, what's the point of going to the moon when we got hungry people here on Earth? Well, it developed all these interesting technologies and things that we needed to do. And so when I was thinking about Tournament Champions, I was like, I bet this is going to expose a lot of things. And us playing fantasy sports on our already fake fantasy sports was something I did not expect. And that like opened up, it got my juices flowing on like what could potentially be possible in the future. And there's another thing that, it'll come back to me in a second, but and then like I know what it was. I realized that people want to play the game differently too. Like not everybody wants to have a ranking from 1 to 1,000 and realize where you're at, and like that's not a thing that everybody wants. But some people want to get super competitive and have rankings, and so it made me realize like we also have to have ways that people can play the game lawn chair style. We're just here to have fun, and then other people can go full tournament champion style, and like how we incorporate like owner stats and things like that into it. Balmers, any other thoughts there?
No, I mean, we've kind of talked about this, as a group before too. I agree. It's something fun to talk about, as long as kind of the same thing, as long as that doesn't become the dumb thing of, oh, well, this person's ranked first, so they're the best owner. Well, they're doing well, but there's others, and things like that as well. So again, it's like a piece of the pie, like Max said, but not the pie.
And the inherent problem with rankings is they're subjective, no matter how scientific they might be, right? And so you got to be careful with them. That's why I like what Luke said. Is like we'll have multiple rankings or whatever, just to
the BCS computer.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the problem in CSFBL with rankings is it uses circular logic. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Is you say, well, these are the best leagues, and so these owners get credit for that. Well, what makes that league the best league is the owners in it, and there's your circle, and you're in that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you solve that? It's always the issue with rankings in CSFBL.
Yep. So
and a lot of smart people have taken a whack at it.
And so, what I'm hoping that we'll see out of the next couple months is that I've been holding back as much as I'm really want to push on new users. We can't do it until we have some way to actually retain them, so they don't just walk in the front door and out the back door. And over the next couple months, this isn't so much for you, but for the people listening, the idea will be to have some of this new user stuff, mentor leagues, all of that dialed in so that I can start pushing traffic, because we have a lot of things that we can do to start pushing new users here, and some of the older users, bring those back. So I think you're going to see an acceleration over the next couple months as we get that stuff in place. It's going to be really important, incumbent on much more than just the four guys I'm sitting with, to make sure that everybody's experience is welcoming and positive. So I please ask for everybody to help any way they can when they see all these new users come in, because at least initially, as a percentage, it will be the largest when we first open the doors. I don't know if we'll have a full Black Friday rush the store or anything, but I'm going to try and push pretty hard to get people in. So
no, it's going to be, I think your key thing you said there is when we have something, to show them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're headed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think Luke's the reason I kind of wanted to bring that up, and I know he wanted to, not he actually he did, and I probably doesn't want me to bring it up, but it was, there's an energy right now. How do you capitalize on it?
Yep. I just noticed Luke has Led Zeppelin right behind him. So music is life imitating art. So we're actually almost at an hour anyway. And I said we were going to try and keep it to an hour, but not to put you on the spot because I didn't tell you we were going to do this, but I thought maybe just go around the horn and any message that you want to get out individually or anything that you want to say. And Luke, I'm going to start with you because you're at that part of my screen. Anything you want to share with the game as a whole, the community, me, whatever it might be?
Can I go last?
Yep. Balmers, how about we start with you? You're next on my.
I don't know. I guess my biggest thing is just, play fair. Like be a good teammate to your league. Like
Yeah.
I'm big on league parity. I was telling these guys the other day, like my favorite leagues are the ones that there's not 100-game winner and there's not 100-game loser. I want everybody kind of battling, equally, not equally, because there's still teams that, are rebuilding or whatever, but within reason, those are the best leagues. Those are the leagues that are fun. They're challenging. They make you think, they make you, work through things. If I was in a league, and I think G was talking about this the other day, that there's leagues out there where guys are winning 115, 120 games for like 30 years in a row. How the heck does that happen?
Yeah.
And if you're the other 23 guys in that league, why are you still in that league?
Yeah, it's coming at somebody's expense. And actually, one thing that I know that you guys have been pushing a lot on, I think is like crucially important, is that we find non-punitive ways to eliminate tanking in the game, where that's like not only a viable strategy, but the viable strategy. And there's ways to do it in a non-punitive form that it makes that go away.
So
that's like a big national security concern for the game.
So not to sidetrack as you're trying to, sign us off.
No, that's all right.
There is, you talk about the, how do you prevent tanking? There's a league that Balmers runs that I think does a pretty damn good job at it. And he uses a lottery system. I realize a lottery in itself is simplistic. And it has its faults, and there's leagues that have done it in the past. That itself is not groundbreaking, but for whatever reason, the lottery combined with the penalties he has, they don't really give you an incentive to tank.
Yep.
So, that league is Carl. So if anyone's interested, I would just put that out there.
Lottery draft. What's the league that's doing the wheel draft?
Pimp's League.
Ultra?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And he uses a wheel draft in that league.
And that's an interesting concept too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because then you can trade picks further out too, which makes it interesting. Yeah.
That one, he also has the 24 preseason free agent draft
in that league.
But you have to be careful trading, because if you don't look at where your next pick is and someone else does, then you can fall into that trap.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Good, Balmers. That's exactly what I was hoping somebody bring up, some things like that. That's such a good thing, because tanking, and I've tanked a lot through the years, and sometimes purely out of necessity, right? And there have to also be some ways when you're in a hole that you can dig out of the hole without trying to accumulate some number one overalls. There's a lot of ways that we can do that, but most importantly is put the controls in the commissioner's hands and let people's innovation figure it out. Gee, what do you have for the group?
Yeah, just building off of that, I'm not a very creative person, but there are so many creative people in this community that have come up with great ideas for leagues. I borrowed the GOAT concept from Peyton Fanalways and some other people like Matthias and Mac was involved. But that's an example of a league where you can't tank. And we've gone over a number of leagues that have special rules, special formats. Redraft, I saw, has a second one coming out in the wake of success, I think, from TOC. And again, that's a way of just completely rewriting the old rules. And with all the creativity that we have out here, people will come up with great ideas.
Yeah, redraft. It was interesting because it eliminated tanking for sure, because just like in GOAT, there are these sprints as opposed to whatever. But then it also added a complete league redraft every year, and we're in the middle of it right now. And I just get unusually stressed about that, but in the best possible way. So I think finding new and exciting ways for people to experience that is awesome, because like I've said it on this show a million times. So many of us grew up playing the off season of Madden and simulating the season, because we love doing that part of it, and as much of that as we can incorporate, the better. All right, Luke, I'm going to kick back to you. What do you got?
In the new league, Hippie Stock Mosh Pit, my division, actually every owner was over 500. That's only the second time I've ever been in a division like that, and the first one was small ball and TCL with Mac.
Yep.
So
you're in Max this one too, right?
No.
It was 2103.
2103.
Well, you got John Legend. God, I love that guy.
But yeah, the 500 divisions, those are my favorite. Maybe we can get Jar to pull how many of those have happened.
Actually, that's a great thing. Hey, Jar, if you do watch this, if not, I'll bug you. That would be a really cool thing to know, because I'm sorry I interrupted you, Luke, but I just want to add, the 500 division is awesome to be a part of it when it occurred.
No, and
back to you. Sorry.
I was going to interrupt him anyway, because just like with Balmers, it brought something up that I've been thinking a lot about. Is where I'm kind of starting CSFBL like you would a startup, but it's a startup with 20 real years of data, and being able to pull interesting things out of the data has been fascinating, and it comes up every now and then. I know you guys run into it occasionally. Finding somebody that hit 2 grand slams in the same inning or whatever it might be, how many times that's happened, how many actual perfect games there's been. It's fascinating to dig through this just not literal mountain of data that we have. So lots more of that coming too, because now that Jar's digging around in it, I'm really curious what all is in there. There's a lot to find. All right. And Luke, did we cover everything?
We cut Luke off, so
yeah.
No, I'm good.
All right. And Mac.
I said this, I think, when I was on before with you. We got some people that are, G said it a second ago too, though. I'm not a great idea person. We got people that aren't great idea people. We got people that are great idea people. Luke's one of them, for example. And so it's important that we have all aspects of it. Feedback is, you've hit on it. We've talked about it in the past. The feedback loop is crucial. So we rolled out the draft. We had some bumps. We had some things we had to work through. We got some feedback of, hey, can you increase the alert time? Can you make it more bold? Can you do something that helps us know a little bit in advance we have a pick coming up? Brian made some adjustments. Some notifications on the franchise page got better. So that's just a part of the feedback loop. So that's really encouraging when that happens. The other thing I wanted to say, because I don't know, I haven't watched every minute of every podcast, not gonna lie, but thank you for investing the resources that are bringing the excitement back to this game. So I appreciate it. I thank you for stepping out and putting your money where your mouth is in that regard.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that. This game has given me a lot, including a lot of real life friends. And so there's part that is pay it backwards, but also I legitimately do think that I want to see where it goes. And one of the themes that has come out of this podcast that I just want to highlight is everybody has ideas. Every single day I get one person that will just like DM me or something and say, hey, can't we get whatever? And everybody has these ideas, right? And to the individual, that idea is pretty important because of some league they're in or how they're playing or something they're experiencing right now. And there's millions of these ideas. And so we're trying to aggregate them into bigger tasks, but all the feedback is super important. The one other thing that I think you're going to see when you mentioned putting the money where the mouth is I realize one of the biggest problems we have right now is I want Brian to work on big projects, but also you guys are delivering them a mountain of on-demand things that we need right now. And then all these small little tweaks and fixes. And so they start to fall into these different bins and divide his time. So, I think I can confidently promise that before the end of March that we'll be able to announce that we have some actual additional paid developers on the team. And that's something that I think is going to be critically important for us to get to where we need to get on the time frame that we need to get there, because Brian has never worked on the game full time until now. But even so, we can't divide his time amongst these things because we could get so much more of these little good ideas that everybody has done quicker.
Yeah, he's you hit it. Brian's awesome in the special projects role type thing. I mean, he's awesome a skilled developer, but that role is freaking awesome. He can get some really cool stuff done there, but we need the other stuff taken care of too. It's exciting that that's going down.
That will be my biggest gift to you guys, because I know you get both you see the need for a lot of things, but also you get the feedback and you got to get back to the people. And so hopefully giving you like essentially an on-demand resource can make make our lives a lot easier.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yes. To be able to have someone be like, hey,
yeah, and that's when things are going to see. Now I'm getting excited, but that's when things are going to speed up and people are going to see, like, instead of monthly changes, they're going to see, even daily changes.
Yes.
All right. Before I start over promising, that's it, everybody. I love you all. These putting faces to the names, these are the guys that help you out on a daily basis, do all the testing of all the stuff that eventually comes out. So we owe them a ton. And if you want to get involved, they're also the people to reach out to there. We'll take everybody's help, and we want to decentralize the innovation and ideation as much as possible. So keep that feedback coming. Until next time, it's time to run home. We are out of here.